Hi, I'm Nina Dar, and I'm here today to talk about the human approach to innovation and change, and particularly how technology and humans can work a bit more effectively together, basically coexist in a team, so that big technology programs like PLM or any enterprise solution can work better for any business in delivering their overall goals. So this is me, founder of Cheeky Monkey Business Solutions, author of Transform Your Business in 99 Steps, and as a change expert and business coach, I'm increasingly more committed to ensuring the human approach is forefront in our minds as we collaborate with technology. In fact, it's becoming a real passion of mine. I've worked with all these companies behind me in lots of different ways and different areas, which means my expertise is pretty broad and fairly unusual. Change management, coaching, product lifecycle management, supply chain, project management, fan culture, and of course, speaking. And the thing that links everything together here is that behaviour change that ultimately positively affects culture is what links everything together here. This video that I found on YouTube, and I've had the permission to use it, is really covering my lifetime, which makes it really fascinating for me and gives us some insight into just how things have changed and drops on that amazing question of where is the future going to take us? So what about that future? Technology and humans must coexist. Actually, we're a bit better at this when it comes to consumer products. The things that we look to buy ourselves, our phones, these Fitbits that everyone's wearing, the things that we're doing with our sporting activities and buying tickets and holidays and all sorts of social activities and experiences, we're pretty integrated. Our lives and our technology are starting to coexist pretty nicely. But when it comes to the working world, this idea of coexisting still is a bit of an argument. It's now humans versus technology. Humans versus robots is something that we hear about a lot. And really, that's just provocative. Really, it's about humans adopting technology, adopting humans. There's a cycle there. Technology has become more than a tool. It's got to integrate, and we've got to look at ways that technology and humans integrate in the workplace as well as at home. And to do that, we need to look at our own supercomputer here, the human brain. This is the thing that unlocks the potential between how humans and technology are going to coexist better, more seamlessly going forward. The brain needs coding just like technology, yet it surprises me more and more when I go into businesses that business leaders don't look at humans in the same way that they do look at technology. We spend a lot of time speccing technology, making sure that the code is going to do what we want it to do, and making sure that it links together in ways that we couldn't have possibly imagined to give us the outcome we're looking for. We don't really look at ourselves in the same way. And our brain works in the same way as technology. Emotional intelligence and artificial intelligence are helping us break down those beliefs and things that we once thought were true, the myths about the left and right brain and all sorts of things are being busted the more that we get to understand what's actually happening inside our own heads. And the things that we do know for sure is that for change to be a better experience, we have got to make it feel more familiar than we do now. Because more often than not, even though people are so used to coping with change, it is an everyday event for everybody now. In our heads, we still have that fight or flight mechanism, which is automatic. So there are things that go on in our own minds that as soon as we start to hear information, then our brains are working and saying, hang on, is this familiar? Does it seem familiar? If it's familiar, I'm okay with that. I'm relaxing. If it doesn't feel familiar, then your brain is saying, hang on here, alert, 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 be on your guard. Someone is going to try and catch you out somewhere. So the more that we can make change feel familiar, the better the experience for everybody. And part of that experience is by letting people themselves create change. I'm also amazed that big organisations will make decisions to put in enterprise technology solutions and even now apps and all sorts of things and only have a small team involved in that decision. Now, I know it's difficult to get lots of people involved, but this is just part of the everyday process now for organisations. So there are better ways at making sure that everyone can be part of that process. And being part of that process isn't reading a spec and then saying, oh, what are we going to do with this? Is it a yes-no decision? Being part of that process is letting them rip that technology apart, letting them get inside that spec, letting them interrogate what is supposed to happen here, letting them ask all the awkward questions they will ask anyway, but getting it done up front in the process and making sure that decision is the right decision. And of course, it's about keeping it simple. We are simple characters. In the end, so is technology. It's all about instructions. If you ask it to do that, it will do this. And I know things are getting more sophisticated and we are quite emotional and technology is becoming emotional. So in the end, we are the same characters here and we all want it to be simple. So break things down. Don't try and take on the world. Don't try and change the world with technology in your workplace. Try and break it down and see where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck here. And illustrate the vision. It's not about saying, here are the bullet points and this is the vision of our organisation and this is where the technology fits in. It's about bringing it to life for people and telling an emotional story about the business journey that you are all part of and who you are as characters within that business journey and what you're all going to do, what your future looks like. And it is so important not to sugarcoat the truth when you are doing this, because that is a surefire way that your brain lights up saying, hang on a minute, this does not make sense. I don't believe you. There is something else going on here. There is another agenda. So being honest, as painful as it might be for people to hear that, is just so much better for everyone in the long run. And this one really should make everyone smile. Pay attention to what people are doing. We live life fast in the workplace now. And honestly, people don't pay attention anymore. They don't read stuff properly. They don't listen when people are talking. They don't review things properly. So many meetings you go to, and if somebody has given what you have probably slaved over for days, a cursory glance before the meeting, you'll have been lucky. No one spends time on the detail anymore, and you kind of have to. We need to get back to some basics here, because these things crop up as these IT programs and these technology integrations go further down the line. And you can save yourself so much heartache by paying attention at this point. And paying attention does give you the ability to keep things fresh. Because when you look at something in detail right at the start of the journey, and you are creating a bit of a story for everyone, and you are thinking about the characters that are going to be involved, and you're not sugarcoating the truth, so you're not trying to make things up and you're not trying to make people feel better, you're just getting on with it, then you can be creative, you can be truly a bit disruptive, have a bit of fun. You can think about where this is going to go in chunks. And you're aiming for that attention density so that new behaviour is owned. You know, when you think about breaking habit, if you've ever had to give something up, I have, it's pretty difficult. And you try and try and try. And even if you really want to give it up, sometimes it's so difficult, your mind just works against you. And that you have to continue to do things, and you have to reprogram your mind to break that habit. It's the same when we are making a habit. You have to do things over and over again before that sticks and new behaviour is adopted. This isn't something that just because you've told everyone this is what's going to happen, that they are going to go ahead and do it. So finally, you have to integrate and integrate. Now, this is just the start of the journey here. You are recoding the people in your organisation, and you are integrating that with technology. It's exciting, it's fun, and you have to see it as a longer game. In terms of PLM, my experience is pretty audacious, really. I didn't know what PLM was, as most people don't, and I stepped into it in 2004 because a client of mine had decided to get involved and bought some PLM software. After they bought it, they realised that perhaps this software couldn't actually do everything the company wanted to do with its own change programme and business goals. So they asked me to look at that and how I could make that integrate in a better way. And it was the first global implementation of the CPG industry. So consumer packaged goods were in there, not typical users of PLM at the time. And we took this project right the way around the world and to 300 employees, looking at the MPD MPI process and specifications data management. After I'd got involved in that and it become a little obsession, definitely became a habit of mine. And I got into being quite disruptive about what PLM could do for organisations, how it was sold, how it could better integrate organisations that hadn't even looked at it. I was starting to be called on as a troubleshooter and worked with Unilever as they were struggling with adoption. They'd had a programme that was running for a long time and the training wasn't being very successful and people just weren't loving it. And I went through the UK and the US to make sure they did love it. I mean, that's all we were looking for. We were looking to spread a bit of love here. And then I went on to lead a PLM program for Boots and did a bit of a PLM reset for Moog, who thought they had PLM and thought they were doing it. But then a new IT director came on board and said, this isn't PLM as I know it. So really, are we doing the right thing? And more recently, I've been helping a tech startup who don't even know what PLM is. But actually, we've focused on end-to-end business processing and how this collaborative piece of software could really help them. And it's this sort of thing. I'm not expecting you to be able to read all the detail in this, but it's a real example from one of my projects where right at the top here, we are an entrepreneurial company enhancing the lives of everybody in every home, in every day. Fastest growing FMCG company in 3+ categories, achieving goals here that were relevant to another piece of work. And I just wanted to show you here that PLM is part of the whole organisational backbone. It's not something that stands on its own, and it's always dangerous when I go into organisations and I see that happening. I want to pull it back and say, what are you doing here? PLM is part of an overall business backbone. If you haven't done a piece of work like this that breaks all the elements of your business down and then clearly says where PLM is going to make a difference for you, then you need to go back and redo it. It's pretty fundamental. And these are the kind of things that I've learned from my PLM journey. The first one, forget the name PLM. Trying to explain it is just such a waste of energy, and it just doesn't make a difference. Product lifecycle management, what does that mean to anyone? Forget it, because the software is fundamentally about collaboration and integration of end-to-end business processes. It's something that can go end-to-end. In this tech startup that I'm working with, they are going end-to-end. They don't have another business system. PLM is going to be their business system. Eventually, they'll grow and they'll have CRM and they'll have ERP maybe. They'll have some financial integration system, and PLM will just integrate into all of those things. And that's what it's about. Businesses build a backbone. All businesses build a backbone. It's kind of the working infrastructure of how it goes on. CRM, PLM, ERP, IBP, integrated business planning, they're all things now that help collect, organise and use data in a very dynamic way. And that's the business backbone that PLM fits into. And because different companies in different ways at different stages of their growth have different backbones, PLM is used in a slightly different way depending on where a business is in that backbone cycle, which is why it's so important that businesses provide clarity on why and how they are choosing to go down this road. That early confidence in this is key, because users do need to be convinced. It doesn't matter what you say about this, users need to be convinced that PLM will add value, and they need to start forming new neurons and pathways that create those habits that we want going forward. Now, all PLM projects end up feeling audacious. Even in the tech startup of a handful of people that I'm working with, it still feels audacious. So there is always a need to simplify what you're doing. Years ago, I saw that need and I set up this idea of there's a cheeky monkey brand here, PLM Made Simple. More recently, the little stork here carrying a product, the PLM kind of baby that we've got here, is my more recent coaching model about PLM. And I just wanted to share this with you because when PLM Made Simple hit the market, we were basically saying, this how we win in the market in 100 days, because PLM projects were notoriously long, and we could see that the market wasn't going to be able to sustain projects of that nature. So we needed to show the market that we could actually do PLM fast, in a fast and dynamic and really exciting way. So I came up with a game of snakes and ladders. If you remember it as a child, maybe from overseas, you don't know what snakes and ladders is. It was the concept that it's a board game, and you would go through the squares, and if you landed on a box where there was a ladder, you could jump up some spaces and accelerate where you are in the game. But if you landed on a square where there was a snake, you could very easily have to slide down the snake, and you would end up going backwards in the game and have to start all over again. And PLM is very like that. There are things that you can do that accelerate progress and make things so much more fun, exciting and rewarding for everything. But there are also things, snakes, that will take you backwards and make you wish you hadn't started. So this was our way of just having a little fun and saying, it is just a game. Look at what we're doing here. Now I've got a little more serious about it. It's not serious in that we don't have fun, but serious because the way that technology is infiltrating our workplace and the speed of change means that any technology project has to start at a much earlier place than we ever thought they did in the past. And so technology adoption starts right here when we are thinking about strategy, when we are thinking about leadership and talent development, and when we are looking at culture change and engagement and all the things that happen in here. And it's so important to listen, observe, and understand what is happening today. Your team going forward will be a combination of humans and technology, and they need to exist in this highest level in your business so that everyone understands the roles, the responsibilities, and how those relationships are divided. Looking at technology as if it was another human is the best way to go about this nowadays. And it gives some clarity to everyone on how is that responsibility divided going forward and what am I expected to do with this technology piece. It makes life much more interesting. And then there's the general approach to technology adoption, a second step here where we have a lot of fun by saying you can create two plans. Plan A, which is a leadership engagement plan, which is all about that leadership team coming together and saying, right, we and the business needs this to happen. And then the more fun one, the fan strategy, which is still part of the leadership team to get involved in, but we're looking at what's going to make people love this here. How are they going to become a fan of what we are doing? And the interesting cycle that we've got here, so important in the workplace going forward, that when you're looking at the adoption of any change, there is the nice equal ratio of mutual trust, mutual investment, and mutual benefit. Now, the good people work for organisations who get this, who get that it's all about this mutual benefit, mutual trust going on. And when it comes to adopting technology, this means a lot. If everyone understands this, there's a basic position of trust, then it's much easier to get people on board going forward. And you want this project to rock. That is the most important thing. No one wants to be part of a boring project anymore. My God, hopefully those days are gone. We are all about the experience, whether we go outside and get the experience, and when we go to work, we want that experience to continue. Gone are the days where we want to roll into work on a Monday morning and go, oh my God, I've had a brilliant weekend and now I've got to start work. Brilliant. We want people to rock into the office on a Monday morning. And by rock, we want these projects to keep it real. Get organised, be collaborative, and look to kick ass in the market. Everyone wants to work for a winner. And the cycle here, we've got meetings, we've got values, we've got teams, we've got company performance, company image, environment, and conversations. And the employee experience is in the middle of all this, and it is so important. You want great technology adoption, then you make the experience worth having. And it's really simple. All we are suggesting here, a simple, single communication and content plan to ensure the right messages are aligned to the business goals, delivery performance, and reward. These things have to come together now. They can't keep fighting against each other. Identify real and role models, champions and ambassadors. And we know how important it is to have real people involved in this. They're in the business and they are people who can authentically drive and sustain the change going forward. And here we're looking to map the content across the business and connect to a calendar of activations Just think about that language here, using some different language activations that can be driven through the ambassadors. Those activations can be things like testing and training, but they don't have to be called that anymore. I mean, we're looking at the experience, don't forget. We are trying to make this rock, make it a bit sexier, make it a bit fun for everybody. And that's how we will get better adoption going forward. And it is iterative. It is one thing for you to rock. It's a second thing for everyone to say you rocked. Now, this is part of normal life. The quicker these projects become business as usual, the better for everyone. They have to start delivering early days. The idea of having 2-3 year projects has gone. We should be looking for some big moment to celebrate in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days, in 100 days, as the Snakes and Ladders game said. And you'll be checking in here to see, have you rocked? Is it real? Are you organised? Is it collaborative? Does it kick ass? Have you engaged? Did you deliver anything? The two key things at the end there. Did you engage? Have you delivered? And it's all about keeping your eyes on the prize. If you haven't, look at this cat here. If you didn't keep your eyes on the prize and you haven't delivered anything, then go back, recode and look for that opportunity to deliver.